Hey guys, this is Jake from Dynamic Designs. This is going to be part 2 in our Getting Started series. This tutorial is going to teach you how to create a file in Photoshop and then export it to be used on maybe websites, whatever you want to do with it. If you don't have Photoshop yet, watch our first video on how to get Photoshop, then come back to this one. Alright, so to start up, let's just go ahead and open up Photoshop. And then once it loads, go up to File, New. And now you can name your project before you start. You can leave it untitled, whatever. I usually name it before if I have an idea of what I'm going to make. But it doesn't really matter. So then you're going to go to your width and height. Don't really mess with the resolution or the sizing right now. Just leave it on pixels, and then just choose your width and height, whatever you want. I'm just going to do 400 by 400. And then you can pick your background contents. You can either have it white, you can choose a color, or just make it transparent. You can always change this later, so don't really worry about that. But we'll get into this in the next tutorial, or maybe one after that. I'm not really sure, but we'll get into that eventually. But for now, you can just leave it on white. Okay, so start. Let's just hit OK then. And now we have our new project. So what you can do here is you can edit this, you can make text, colors, whatever you want to do, brushes. You can add any effects to this as long as it's inside the white box. That's your file size, so it's going to restrict you to only using the size you wanted. That way you can't go over the limit. And then once you're done, you're just going to go to File, Save for Web and Devices. You can use Save As and choose a different file type, but Save for Web and Devices is more precise, and that's what I would recommend using. So once you get here, you're going to have a few options. There's here up in the right corner, there's an option to choose the file type. So there's GIF, which is only animation, so don't use that unless you're using animation. Otherwise, there's JPEG, and then there's PNG 8 and 24. PNG 8 and 24 are basically the same thing, except that PNG 24 has a higher resolution. So you're mainly just going to be using either PNG 24 or JPEG. And so what I would recommend is if you want to, let's say you're making this for some website that restricts you to a certain file size, so you can't have it, let's say, over, I don't know, 250 kilobytes or whatever. So to restrict it, what you can do is you have to make it a JPEG, because on a PNG you can see the file size down here in the left-hand corner, but you can't change it. So if you go to a JPEG, you can change the quality, which will lower the file size. Now for this, it's not really going to change. Oh, it is changing the file size. Well, it usually wouldn't change the file size just because it's a white background and there's nothing really to change on it. But usually if you had some text, it would kind of degrade the quality, maybe make the edges fuzzy, but it wouldn't be as good the lower quality you make it, the less clear the image is going to be. And if you don't feel like messing with the numbers, you can always go under here and choose very high, high, whatever. There's a bunch of different options here. But generally you can just use the highest quality. And if you're not restricting it to a certain size, I would recommend using a PNG, which is basically always used for backgrounds. If you don't have a background, if it's transparent, which we'll get into in different tutorials, but if you'd have a transparent background and you saved it as a PNG, it would stay transparent. Otherwise, if you saved it as a JPEG, it would just make the background white. So you can use PNG on other images. It'll increase the quality, make it a little bit bigger, a little bit better than JPEG. But if, like I said, if you need to have a certain file size, use JPEG. Otherwise, you could always use PNG 24, and it wouldn't really affect anything. Okay, so then once you're done, you're going to hit Save, and then you're going to save it as whatever you want. Make sure you don't change the ending. That's the file type. So .png means that's what the transparent file type is. If it's a JPEG, whatever GIF. So just make sure you only change the text to the left of the period. And then you're going to choose where you want to save it. So I'm just going to save mine to my desktop. And then there's some other options. You don't really want to mess with those right now. And then when you're done, just click Save. And now you can close this, save it if you want to. I don't really need to because it's only a white background. And then you're going to have your your picture wherever you saved it. So here's mine, just a white background like I said. But if I wanted to have this on a website or something, I could take this and use it anywhere now, put it on PhotoBucket, whatever you want to do with it. Now it's your picture. So that's basically how you make a file and export it. If this tutorial helped you, please subscribe. We'll be making more videos soon on how to use Photoshop. And if you didn't watch our first video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting off easy and then going further into Photoshop, getting increasingly harder in each tutorial. So if you follow along, you should be good. But if you come into it late, you're probably going to want to go back to the beginning and start through the series in order. So that's basically it for this tutorial. If you liked it, like I said, subscribe, and thanks for watching.